Hi Team Social Studies! Today we are going to talk about action civics. So the first thing I want to make sure that everyone has done is that you have already viewed the Children's March video before this meeting with your group, and that you have read the jigsaw piece that was in the syllabus about different examples of action civics, because you will be sharing those thoughts and everything with your group members. So if you haven't done that, pause this video and do that, then schedule a new meeting time for your virtual small group. Okay, so assuming that you have done that, I want you guys to take a little moment to do this. Does the ends must justify the means quiz? This can be a fun little way to engage with your students about taking different types of political action. So this is a 2-minute Machiavellian quiz, and it's kind of fun to look and see like where you stand in do the ends justify the means. Because when we're looking at different political movements and action civics, oftentimes you have to think about the ways that people are going about things for their for this good that they see at the, that light at the end of the tunnel. So having students understand how far they think is okay to go is a great little way to engage them in this topic. So I'm pausing here for you guys to take the quiz. Once you have taken it, we will come back together. Okay. So hopefully you guys have taken the quiz now, and what I want you guys to discuss with your group, and you can kind of pause this video as you go, is sharing out if this was, shocking to you, you think you kind of fell where, what you thought you would, and how this kind of action might be interesting for your students as well. It's a great discussion topic. Okay, so take a moment to chat with your group members. Okay, so now let's go ahead and move on to today's activities. So first off, what I want you to think about is from your readings about what is action civics. Learning through citizenship is not just about citizenship. How does it work? How does it empower how does it empower youth, and why can it be challenging? Take a moment to chat with your group members about that. And then once you have concluded that conversation, I would like for you all to share out your one action civics project that occurred at the school that you were assigned. Remember that I really didn't assign you anything. I suggested that you go in alphabetical order with number 1, number 2, number 3. But really, just as long as you all had different schools to look at, I just want you to have a nice understanding of the different ways that this can go. So again, you're going to think about the first couple of questions, and then please share out with your schools about what occurred. All right, so coming back here, I'm seeing that from my past experiences that most students have comfort levels, and some things seem much more comfortable than others. And I'm curious as to how your groups interpreted that, if these were all projects that you guys would do, or some of them you're like, maybe not so much. So I want you to share that with me in your group response for today. Now I'm going to have you guys look at 2 action civic projects that I did with my students. This was one at the end of the school year, and let me talk to you about the community that I did this in. It's a small town within a big city, so it was in the city of Decatur, which they have a beautiful town square center, lots of pedestrian activity, very similar to downtown Dahlonega. And they had an art festival scheduled at the end of the year. And I loved taking students outside and having them do things with chalk. They could, like illustrate what a dictatorship looks like in chalk. Maybe that could be a class activity. But for this, we used to have walking field trips in this community. And so we had the students sign a walking field trip form. I asked parents to donate sidewalk chalk, and I got 10,000 times more than what I would ever need. And we took all of the grade level out. This was 8th grade. And we had them illustrate a current event that they had been researching. So every I'd say 2 weeks or so, we would have a nice current events day, and students would talk about different issues that were important to them. And so as the semester progressed, there were certain hot topics that arose during that year. So there's there was the Boston bombing, person who was found guilty. There was an earthquake in Nepal, police brutality. So Black Lives Matter is really kind of starting to gain momentum at this time. And so students were asked to illustrate a picture from a current event onto the sidewalk. And then we had a QR code next to their illustrations where people could scan it and learn more about the different current events that were important to my students. They chose the events, not me, and it happened to correspond with an art festival that was happening in the town, where they actually hired this sidewalk chalk artist who, in my opinion, was not that great, but they decided to do the hungry caterpillar because he was supposed to make this big caterpillar, so he had caterpillars all over the place, and their news segments were in each of the little segments of the caterpillar. So that's why there's a caterpillar there. Again, not really feeling the caterpillar, but it was cool that the arts festival corresponded, so that there was a lot of pedestrians and a lot of people could look at the students' projects and see what was important to them. Okay, so next I'm going to share with you another project that I did. End of the year is a really stressful time in your classroom because kids are crazy. And if they're not taking end of course tests, and oftentimes ours were scheduled a couple of days before, the last couple of days are just pandemonium. So what I had students do is we looked at the story of Sadako, who was a girl in Hiroshima who contracted leukemia after the nuclear bomb was dropped. There's this story that goes with her that she made 1,000 paper cranes, which is an old Japanese folk tale that if you make 1,000 paper cranes, your wish will come true, that she would be cured. Of course, she was not cured, and she did die very young, but now people send 1,000 paper cranes to Hiroshima from all over the world as a way to talk about, peace, ending of nuclear war, children, specifically sick children, it's a symbol for them, and they are placed in these glass cases around this peace monument, which is here and has Sadako up here. So I had my students make 1,000 paper cranes, which I basically had a YouTube video play on repeat over and over, and every kid really just needed to make 10, and then I strung them up, and then we sent them along. I also shared with them a story to make this a little more potent of a survivor, which I'm going to add to the Flipgrid this week, that I met, who was a young, he was 13 or 14 years old when the bomb dropped, and how basically everyone he knew died. All right. So we already talked about Politicraft last week, but I want you to think about how this is a great tool for Action Civics as well. And finally, I want you guys to look at these questions for the Children's March. So what were your gut reactions viewing the film? How is this similar or different from the Civil Rights Movement? And what about teachers in the film? Do you agree with their actions? Why or why not? This film was very powerful to me the first time I viewed it. So I want you guys to think about these questions, and that's specifically the actions of the teachers. And talk about that in your group, and you will share it in your group response for the week. And that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed the film and looking at the different Action Civics projects, and try and brainstorm some things with your group that you think might work in your own teaching. Maybe not in your placement now, but something that you would like to do in the future. All right, see you later, Team Social Studies.